I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Thanks for coming to this session of our town council meeting. We have a few people in attendance here, so thank you for coming to the council chambers. And also, hopefully, if you're watching at home, also welcome you. Around the table, we have Brittany Garrett. So she's taking our notes tonight and taking care of us. So we'll get a chance to introduce her a little bit later, but thanks for being here. John Paciotti, our town councilor. Stephanie Thibodeau, town councilor and vice chair. Michelle Flowelling, our town manager. Adam Lorette, town councilor. Peter Lawrence, town councilor and secretary of the board. And myself, Matt Townsend, council chair. So our first order of business will be public announcements, and the details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. Number one, the nomination papers for the November 5th municipal election are available and due September 6th. Town council has 2 seats for a 3-year term and 1 seat for a 2-year term. Number 2, the summer concerts in Memorial Park are held Fridays 6 to 7:30 p.m. through August 30th. Can't believe it's almost the end of August. So anyway, it's been a good summer. Number 3, the Lawrence Public Library, comprehensive program details online and via the LPL social media. New this summer, still going on, patron pass to the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens. Call LPL for details. The second order of business, public hearings to hear public comments on proposed amendments to the Public Safety Ordinance, Article 6, a noise. So,
Clear and then open.
hearing now open. Sorry.
We have nobody on Zoom.
Anybody wish to have any more comments on proposed amendments? Do we need to talk about it? We talked about it last time in our groups.
We'll do it later
So,
on the
yep.
agenda.
So any discussion there? Anybody else wishing to talk about it? Hearing none. I will call the public hearing to a close. The third order of business, public comments. Limit 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council or request opportunity to speak on a specific item that is on the agenda, or may email comments for council to info@fairfield-me.gov by 4 p.m. day of meeting. Submitted content may be read aloud at this time.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Kitchen, president of the Central Maine APD Club. I just wanted to give the council an update. Last I had talked to you guys, we had applied for a municipal grant. We have been working with the town manager on that. We've been working through some admin challenges. Currently, I would like to get with Michelle potentially this week. We have $17,000 that we as a club have paid. And we have receipts for that, so I'll work with you on that and get that submitted to the state for reimbursement. And so far we have, above and beyond that, we have about $30,000 that we've obligated already into our trail system. So we're continuing to work that, and we appreciate the town supporting us on that. I also wanted to speak on behalf of all of our members. Fairfield PD did a tremendous job for our local fundraiser for the food pantry. Rough estimate, we raised about $8,000. So we guessed between 800 to 900 people and almost 300 machines. It was a great event. Fairfield PD was very professional. Chief's team should be commended. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Anybody else with public comments? Anybody in Zoom land with public comments? All right. Thank you very much. The fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. The town manager report, number 1.
So one quick little correction, we did have a concert that was canceled, the only one that we've had affected by the weather, that has been moved into September. And fingers crossed to this coming Friday, so that'll be good.
Looks like good weather.
And then also at your last meeting, Councilor Lawrence had asked about the PFAS document being on our website with the PFAS committee letter, the council letter, and the DEP letter. That is on our website. It was on there then. It's under the town information. So if you go to the PFAS notices section, go down to the town information, it's at the very bottom of that list. So that is there, and that was there the last meeting. And then also August 12th, I attended an emergency KRDA executive board meeting regarding the sale of lot 15B in First Park. I believe that lot is now under contract and we have an offer on another lot. So remember, with every lot that gets sold in First Park, that's more tax revenue that gets sent back to the town of Fairfield as to offset our cost for being a member of that park. So that's always exciting when that happens. The 13th through the 16th, I attended the Maine Town and City Managers New England Management Institute in Newry. There were lots of great trainings that happened up there, jam-packed in those days. I've yet to go through anything and have a chance to share it with staff, but there was some really good stuff to bring back on that. And then also the contract documents on the 13th for the Community Resiliency Partnership and Community Action Grant were received and signed. This is the grant for $44,321, plus our match piece for the community center, kitchen, and restroom upgrades. So, and again, thank you to Councilor Thibodeau for all of your hard work on that project. So it's good to finally have those. We only went back and forth for about a month to get the contracts finalized, but that's all done. And now next week we're going to start shopping and getting all the pieces we need to get those upgrades done.
Nice.
So it'll be good.
Sounds good. Any questions for Michelle? Hearing none. On to committee reports. Economic Development.
The Economic Committee is going to meet September 3rd at 3:30 here in council chambers.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I think the other committees are actually on hold at the moment. No other meetings have been held since the last council meeting. So, the fifth order of business, the consent agenda. These items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered next on the agenda. They are item 24-125, order the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting number 2024-15 held on August 17th, 2024. Item 24-126, order the Town Council hereby approves the Treasurer's warrant number 640 for the general fund in amount of $51,980.19, not limited to but including MSAD 49 fuel, State of Maine motor vehicles, and Dirigo Engineering, and the Treasurer's warrant number 65, general fund in the amount of $858,885.78 for July and August MSAD 49 payments.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
You're not supposed to have any discussion, and this isn't, it's the only related to the fact that that's a typo. It's supposed to be warrant 64.
Great, thank you.
And then 65.
Very good. So motion is
Thank you.
second. All those in favor? 5-0. Sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business as read by the council chair. Item 24-127, order the town council hereby approves proposed amendments to the public safety ordinance, Article 6, noise.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I think we discussed last time.
Yes.
And the changes are to help facilitate a situation with the chief of police, so I'm all set with that.
Yep. Any clarification from last time? Is the 100-yard?
So we just so folks at home are aware, those that aren't here, don't have it in front of you, it simply just removes C3 that says the noise generated shall not be audible above background sound at a distance of 100 yards or more from the noise source, nor shall the noise be unreasonably loud within the sound area. It's just the removal of that line. The compromise that the council had done with the last appeal that we had with the chief's denial of a sound permit worked very well, but it was going to require, without it having to be appealed every time, the removal of that
Right.
that sentence.
Thank you. So, had discussion. All those in favor? 5-0. Item 24-128, order the town council hereby approves amendments to the facade improvement and marketing assistance program guidelines.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Can you talk to us about that, Michelle?
Yes, I can. So the facade improvement and marketing assistance program guidelines and the program itself has been around for quite some time. We did realize, though, that we needed to tighten up the document a little bit, simply because of the fact that we have awarded grants to folks in the past and they have not submitted their invoices if they have done work, what have you. And what we have found is that there are some grants out there that are several years old that have not claimed the funds that have been given to them, and so they're currently tied up in that grant award. So all we were asking, there's two little additions that are being done. We already had the agreement, we already had under both pieces that it said the applicant must be able to start the marketing campaign within 30 days, enter an agreement with the town, and complete the same within the time period specific to the agreement, which time period shall not exceed 1 year. We were adding alternative timelines may be approved by the program administrator, and that wording is the same under both marketing and facade, simply because of the fact that we had run into issues during COVID, so we realized we needed to be able to have some flexibility with the individuals. But then we added under both of those programs a statement that says all reimbursement requests must be submitted within 1 year of the application approval or completion of work, whichever comes last. And then obviously, if they had adjusted their timeline, it would adjust what that final 1 year was. And this will allow us to say that you were awarded these funds, you had a year to use them, you didn't use them, we can now move them on to and make them available to somebody else so that they're not tied up. It just helps clean up the program a little bit.
Sure.
So, and so far, we've had some folks that have been interested. We just recently approved an application for another business in town for some marketing piece. And I know we had a facade project that was on Main Street that I just got a great email where they had wrapped up the lighting and stuff that we had approved, and they were getting ready to submit their final invoice. So we do have some good projects in the works, and we encourage people at all times to reach out for this program.
Very good. Thanks, Michelle. So motion is second. Any other discussion? It sounds like a very reasonable change. So all those in favor? 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 24-129, or the town council hereby considers appropriating funds to be taken from the undesignated fund balance to reduce the amount to be raised from taxation for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as per annual town meeting warrant, article number 31.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Lots of discussion.
Michelle, if you could explain.
I can explain.
I don't like what I see on the front page, but
Okay.
we knew that was coming.
We knew that it was coming. So remember, we have talked about the fact, just give me 1 second, I'm gonna share my screen so everybody here can see what we're talking about. Dun, dun, dun. Come on. Let's put this out of the way. So, this document here is a recap of what we had for last year. So what I provided you is a comparison of what we had for last year's county, municipal, school, and TIF funds. Okay, and as you can see, the county has gone up 6.2%. The municipality has increased by 3.63%. The school has increased by 9.36%. And our TIF has increased in value by 8.8%. So those are things that are all expenses that we have to raise taxes for. And then you look down underneath and you see revenue sharing, which is a revenue that we are required by law to list separately and individually on our tax commitment. The revenue projections that came out in July said that our revenue sharing was only projected to be at just over $1.3 million. So for the commitment, we're going to use $1,250,000 as opposed to last year's $1.4 million. Okay, so that is a 10.71% decrease in revenue. And then all other revenues, which is everything else, excise tax, vital statistics, permit fees, it's everything. That actually has decreased from last year by that increased by 4.29%. So revenues overall, though, are down almost 0.5%, while expenses were up 6%. So we talked about this, and we've been talking about this since the budget season, was that these pieces were going to affect property taxes. So the way this all works is we went through today and we figured out what was this going to be if we had used 100% of the undesignated fund balance that you were allowed to use, which was $950,000. So, and by using that, I think I got to stop that. That brings it so that our mill rate needs to lie, which is the next document that you have, will show you that the mill rate needs to be somewhere between 22,808 and 23,948. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is you use the full $950,000 from undesignated fund balance. You amend your motion that you use the full $950,000 from undesignated fund balance to create a mill rate that does not exceed 0.023, which is 23. So that's a 1.5 mil increase. The conversation I had with our assessor today is that we're actually below most everybody in our region when you think about percentages, so we've done well. But they're not going to know the exact number until they start doing the calculations tomorrow, because what they have to do is they have to go through and do a preliminary tax commitment. Then they have to do the factor adjustment, and then they have to go back and be able to show what the difference is. So that's all that magic is going to happen tomorrow morning.
Okay. So in the town, at the town meeting, in the town report, the article was up to 950,000.
Yes.
So you're asking that we go with the full amount?
Full amount. So what will happen tomorrow is that if they finish their final calculations and they find that they don't need that full 950, they won't use it all. All right, so you're going to make a motion that it's up to that. And they will make the final determination tomorrow when they do the commitment, when all of the very specific numbers are present.
Okay.
So what if we wanted to use the complete 950 and drop the mill rate?
And that the mill rate ends up where it's at?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you would just say, you would change your vote that they would use $950,000 and leave it at that. And then the mill rate ends up where the mill rate
That
is.
won't hurt us, will it, Michelle, just in case we need equipment or anything like that, or?
So we already have capital reserve accounts for that. The concerning part is the fact, the money is there. It is there in your undesignated fund balance. We talked about that before. We did that during town meeting. You know, we know we have the funds for that. It does put us under the 6-month range for having money in reserves, but it doesn't put us under the 3. And that, so you would have capital reserve accounts that you would draw off from if we had equipment needs. The only concern that I have, and the only concern I ever have when we use money from the undesignated fund balance, is that if you use it this year, there's no guarantee it's there next year. Okay, so like, remember we had those conversations when we talked about ARPA? So one of the big influences on our budget this year, if you think about the municipality being up $260,000 over last year, well, remember the year before, our $97,000 for Delta came from ARPA. So that $97,000 went to the $161,000, and 100% of that is now coming from taxation. So more than half of that $260,000 increase is just Delta. So we never know from one year to the next whether there's going to be an extreme, but that's why we are cautious about making sure we have at least 3 months, and if not, our goal of 6 months in the undesignated fund balance.
I know last year we used the full amount.
We
No, we didn't.
Almost.
No, we didn't.
Almost.
Almost, but we didn't. Yeah, because you chose to do that and not, and then the mill rate raised from 21 to 21.5. So we have, over the last several years, had very minimal movement within our mill rate. I mean, we know that. We've ranged from, in 1920, we were at 22.3, 2021, we were at 22.3, in 21-22, we were at 22, 22-23, we were at 21, and then we came back up last year to be at 21.5. So this will put you at 23. It's not a number that I like either, but that's about where you'll end up. And you can't, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to folks. I mean, you can't have increases at the county, the municipal, and the school level and not expect to see a raise in your income, in your property taxes. And a decrease in state revenue.
That's important.
That's a big piece of it. I keep it,
Yeah.
those numbers came out, even when we did the budget, we used the 1.4.
Yeah.
And I was shocked when I saw what the decrease was. And evidently, all the municipalities across the state are experiencing a decrease. But remember, revenue sharing is just an estimation of what they're going to receive for revenue in the next year. So of course, if that's up, that's money that goes towards the undesignated fund balance that you just use the following year to offset taxes.
For me, I'd like to see us stick with the up to, because we can't predict what's going to happen next year. And I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference in the percentages between the up to and use the whole amount of $950,000. That's just my opinion.
So you're saying up to the 950,000?
Yes, yeah,
And to go no more than the 23?
right. Yeah, that's my
That's your-
feeling.
yep. Other discussion? We want to change the amendment, or do we need to?
I can do it. Let me see.
It's not spelled out.
I think it's already at up to $950,000.
It is.
So we don't need to change anything. Yeah.
Well, the article is written for you to use up to 950. So
Okay.
what you need to do is you
Let's
need to
make the
vote
motion. Okay.
that you're going to use up to 950,000
All right.
with a mill rate not to exceed 23.
All right, then the motion will read that we will use up to $950,000 of undesignated funds, recommending that we go no more than .0230 for the mill rate.
Any more discussion?
Any?
All those in favor?
I need a second to
Second.
do
Oh,
it.
second, okay. I don't know if you were just
Thank you.
changing your...
Yeah, we
first
had
one.
to.
Yeah,
we-
gotcha, yep.
We hadn't had one.
So that's Peter for the second? Okay.
Discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Thank you.
All those against?
It is our goal to have, so that was 4 to 1.
Yep.
Yep, okay. It is our goal to have tax bills hopefully in the mail by the end of next week. It'll depend on the printers, but that's the goal.
So, moving on. Item 24-130, or the town council hereby signs a quit claim deed for William E. Lybrook II for property located at 232 Norwich Walk Road. This is to release 1978 and 1979 municipal tax liens.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm surprised.
It's the value of a title search.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yep. So, all those in favor? 5-0. Now we can move on to the seventh order of business, the council workshop and other businesses. So the one is to discuss the animal control regulations. So there's been some discussion on being able to contact and where that stands. So I'll let the chief talk about that.
Not much to talk about. I gave you a memo. You should have received a memo from me regarding the complaints that we had last month during July, and you can see they are all over the place. Some of the complaints that we received, I didn't report to you. There was like a duck struck by a vehicle, there were chickens on somebody's lawn, a horse, they opened up their back door, there was a horse out there, and there was cows, you know, we have all kinds of different types of animal calls throughout the month. Probably midwinter, I put a memo out to the offices no longer accept stray dogs at the station. We have a kennel at the station, and we would, from time to time, take in a dog that somebody would bring to us, and we would hold it for the animal control officer, but the shelters are full, and we are struggling to find room for them. And we actually had a dog that came into the station and was there for almost 3 days. Well, we called all over the state trying to find a facility to bring it to. And I don't recall how that turned out. Oh, the Somerset shelter had somebody adopt a dog, and a kennel opened up, and they took that dog for us. So it was there for almost 3 days, and the officers, it's not their job to take dogs out and walk them and things like that. And it put us in an awkward situation where we had a dog that was barking in the station. That said, they have been at maximum capacity since, and I believe Waterville, and that's secondhand information I'm getting about Waterville, but I'm hearing the Waterville shelter is pretty much full as well. At that time, back in the winter when we had that issue, the only place around that I could find that had availability was Farmington. And they were, on the third day, they said they were willing to take the dog, and that's the day that the shelter actually stepped up. So as far as contacting the ACO, we do call him when we do have dog complaints. The problem with ACOs in general is that this isn't their primary job. Ours is retired. He does it for us because we called him and begged him to. There was nobody else. We had several animal control officers. They worked for months at a time and then stepped down. So we contacted Dave Huff, who had worked for us for some time in the past, and the captain begged him to come back, which he did. And it's been working out fairly well. We have had a couple of instances where we couldn't reach him, but you know, he has a life as well. On one of the calls that we had, he was up north somewhere visiting family, and as soon as he got the message, he came down and looked for the dog and couldn't find it. So my only concern is that people still, I mean, in one of the instances that you saw in there, somebody drove by a house and saw a dog that had big open shave marks on it. Thought it was abused, so they put it in the car and took it to headed to the shelter with it. At the same time, the owners called and reported the dog stolen off from their lawn. We're asking that if you see a loose dog, please give us a call. We'll notify the animal control officer. Our offices will usually go out and look as well. But at this time, don't pick them up. Give us a call. We'll notify the ACO. That's his job. Any questions?
I know I appreciate the clarity. There's, just some, there have been questions about the effectiveness, but of course, if the shelters are full, that's a different story. But you're saying, even with the shelters being full, Fairfield PD continually and consistently passes on those calls to the animal control officer, who is a contracted worker. Just clarifying, they're not an employee.
Correct. They're not an employee.
Because I think there was some confusion around, is this a Fairfield position that is just, not meeting the needs of what the town needs or the people need, but sounds like there's really not much that can be done, just based off the shelter capacity.
So the animal control officer calls the shelter every morning. When he gets up, he calls every morning, and they tell him how many openings they have. Quite often it's 0. Once in a while it'll be 1, 2 openings, but they warn him, when as soon as they hang up the phone with him, other animal control officers are calling to see how many openings there are, because they cover most of Somerset County. A lot of small towns, and there's a lot of animal control officers that bring dogs to their facility. During that month, the only animals we brought to the facility were cats. That's because there were only openings for cats And I don't believe we had any dogs that were picked up or brought into the station that we couldn't find the homes for.
I think we're good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for the
Appreciate it.
clarification. Which then will lead to discussing other council business. John, do you have anything for us? Stephanie?
I do have a list.
Great.
All right.
Me too.
Oh, you do too?
But I'm not the
Okay.
only one.
First of all, how is the cost analysis for the ambulance coming along, Michelle?
I believe the fire chief is currently on vacation, and I was gone last week, so I have no idea.
Okay, so it's still, it's
But we
pending.
are working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next thing is the fire station itself and how to remedy the floor in the fire station. I think we're dealing with an issue that could be remediated. TC Haffords, there's this guy that is on YouTube, Watch Wes Work, and they go and they actually drill holes under the floor, into the floor to raise it up. And we haven't even thought about something like this. I know we agreed that we would monitor everything, but I think it deserves to have some consultation or come in and give an estimate, because that building itself is valuable to the town. If it's not being used as a fire station, it can be used for something else. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's see what we can do to fix up that building. I think that it'd be for us, we would be proactive in doing that. And I think we need to maybe put it on the agenda for next time and have a discussion about it, because it's one thing. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, because we've got a police station that is literally beginning to fall apart, and as we know, it's going to take 5 years to get anything going. And we talk about something and then we don't talk about it again. Well, I don't want that to happen. I want us to be proactive in what we're doing and to keep the fires going on these issues. So I think that once we can have another look from a different standpoint on that fire station floor, we need to do that before we spend 2 or 3 years just watching to see if it's going to fall further. I think there's ways that we can do it. So that needs to be on the agenda. The other thing is, I'm wondering if we need to revisit the public water extension based on the PFAS reports that were said. I know that we voted for it before, but to me, the situation is a little different now. It seems like the money shouldn't or will be not as available. And I'm wondering if some of the townspeople are having some thoughts that maybe we should be taking a look at this again. Also, what is Kennebec Water doing with the money that's been allocated to them to remedy the situation from there to make sure that the water is safer? I think we need to have that discussion and just have that focal point. And the PFAS committee would probably have more to say, but again, do we need to open up that discussion and revisit it? Then the other thing I have here is the town farm development. And it would be great if we could we own this land and it's just sitting there. We've looked into seeing how much it would cost to go and put in a development. But we haven't done anything with that for a while. And I'm wondering, maybe we need to sell that land. Maybe there's a developer out there that would want the town farm land. And that would be money in our coffers if that were the case. Meanwhile, we're just sitting on this land. I think we need to have a conversation about that. And that would also coincide with the need, for us to discuss a 5-year plan for housing. And housing is an issue. So to me, they go kind of hand in hand. So that's my list.
Very good list. There's a lot of comments. I think those are all items that we should continue to work on. I think whether it's a structural assessment of the floor. PFAS, I would say that the committee is coming close to a report on that. So I think that falls really tightly with that. And I think that's an important discussion. And then the town farmland, I do like that you brought that up, so that's good. That has a couple different items there, whether it's, I think the original intent was to have a water system to get there, but if it's going to be a long time coming, then you need to consider, hey, why don't we move on, sell it, and let maybe some development happen, and so it might alleviate some housing issues, different things. But anyway, it's good questions. So I think those are things we should somehow put into our agendas moving forward, so they're just like, hey, Stephanie, great thoughts, and now we move on.
Right.
So I'm not sure what we want to do with that next. I do like that. Do you have a suggestion on how you'd like to move forward on some of those, or a time frame on those? And
Well, we
maybe-
need to discuss it and come up with an action plan.
Yeah, so that can be on even a workshop items coming in the next 2
Next
meetings.
agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
You
great.
want revisit public drinking water extension, or do you want to wait for the PFAS committee?
Well, do you think that will be included in the report?
It will be discussed on options given to the
It's been
town.
part of their discussions
Right.
as to whether or not that's something that should be recommended or
Yeah,
not.
why don't we wait on that?
I think that'd be
Okay.
wise.
Yeah.
It also there's 5 of us on the council, so.
Right,
I think
right,
it'd
but
be
with
wise, so.
PFAS too, there's also the use of farmlands,
Right.
reuse of farmlands, so, yeah.
But do you want the town farm discussion?
Yes, please.
Thank you,
want,
Steph.
So we still have working on getting the RFP out to look at a public safety building that you requested, but now you want to look at an RFP for
Yep,
fixing the floor.
because we still have the fire station as a town-owned property.
So
So
discuss
we've got
fixing
to
the floor.
talk about what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do
Thank you,
that.
Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Adam?
Well, my list is not as long. You stole my thunder on the public water extension, but
Sorry,
I appreciate
Adam.
you bringing that up. It means that we've got more people than not that are interested in that, so I appreciate that. I actually wanted to start by giving a kudos out to Alyssa down at the library, Alyssa Patterson. People know I love Facebook. I love interacting with residents. I actually saw a post on there in one of the community groups that somebody who's in need, one of the residents recently was in a car accident and looking for crafts, and I was just scrolling through and noticed Alyssa put out there. She made up a goodie bag, left it at the library. The resident mentioned they don't have a car. I was actually already in town, picked it up, dropped it off for them. They were super excited. I was the only person that actually was able to go and donate it by that time. So I want to give her a shout out. Just I think that's going above and beyond for the community. So I certainly appreciated that. Other than that, I did have a couple concerns from residents. One that I started to look into around packet material. So a few residents felt like they were in the dark with some of our discussions, because all of this paperwork we get is public information. Quite a few towns around us provide this to their citizens with the agendas, as well as just the agenda if they just want that. Just looking to have a discussion of why don't we do that, if there's a reason, because there's quite a bit of information in here that I then see later people questioning, that I feel like as transparent as we can be and forthcoming with all of the information, that just creates a better environment for transparency. So I'd love to have a discussion about potentially including all of these public documents. And then the last thing I had, I've also been seeing some things around the Mill Island Park, the Economic Community Development Committee. Where are they at? What's going on with that? And a lot of the recommendations were, well, how come I can't watch that on TV, right, or Crossroads or whatnot? So I did say that I would ask, is that a bandwidth issue, a resources issue? Because I know I was just there, and
It's a staff.
staffing issue. Okay, well that's what I need to hear, because there has been a lot of desire to watch those meetings, become informed, and I think that's how we get more people interested in those types of things, because it is a difficult time. I showed up for the first time, and I've been trying to make it for years. Normally I have a work meeting. I'm not sure if there might have been one other person from the public that's not on the committee.
Max was there, I believe.
And I think that's pretty typical, right? It's
Right.
very low.
Very
But
low.
there seems to be a lot of interest in all of our boards and committees. I would love to see us find a way to make the public fully aware of everything that goes on.
Find us some people to come run some cameras.
All right?
That's what
We
we
have the
need.
positions open?
We do.
Okay.
We have a full-time position for Crossroads TV that has been open for quite some time.
Yeah.
We just do not have the staff to run all of the various different meetings that need to be run all around the region, so.
And that has come up for, I bet, the last 4 or 5 years, videotaping the Economic Committee. And it was actually brought up in January as a discussion point when we were going over our goals.
And we just
But
don't have the staff.
without the staff, you can't do it.
I'm not sure if Thomas has any kind of
We've checked.
broadcast.
We've
type-
tried.
Yeah.
We've tried them.
Because obviously
We've tried
Hudson up in,
the tech school
Yeah.
at Waterville High School. We've
Yeah.
tried all of those different things. Yep, we've tried. We're even open to part-time, not just full-time. So if you're looking for a part-time job, because it has some rather creative scheduling, we always encourage folks, if that's something that you're interested in, videography, editing, all of those sorts of things, certainly reach out to Crossroads TV and talk to Chad about that, because we're happy to add.
so you have, Adam?
That's all I've got.
Good questions and good comments. Thank you. Peter?
I just want to do kudos to Stephanie about mentioning about the medicinal buildings. There's a project mine, since I was on the chair of the committee, try to upgrade our medicinal buildings. So that's it.
Very good. Thank you. I just want to actually, there was a public comment earlier, and I just wanted to let Kevin have his moment, but I did want to thank the Central Maine ATV Club and all the hard work that they did. It is, so I think you probably doubled your amount of machines from year over year, and a great fundraiser for the Fairfield Pantry. I know it's a group of Central Maine, and you were involved in a bunch of other towns, and there's a lot of discussion about that, but where the funds went, I really appreciate the hard work you do and the good that you do. So your whole group should be commended, as well as all the folks that went to help you. So Chief Gould and the other folks that were out there to help and make it a successful event. So thank you for that and the interaction with the community. So thank you. Yeah. And that's,
I had one more thing I thought.
go ahead for Stephanie.
Did you get a chance to do the RFP for Lawrence Avenue House, the Good House? Not yet? Okay.
So that's all, though it's next week, and simply because of the fact that being away at training all of last week
Right.
and trying to get everything done for this commitment and staff training, it just,
So where can we find that online? I Googled Town of Fairfield, Maine RFPs to see if we had anything going on,
so we don't currently have any out.
but where
We
would
don't
I
currently
go
have
to
any out, but they
find
would
it?
be as under the public notices on our website.
Okay.
All right, and then they would usually, we would upload them to our Facebook page, and then sometimes when we know we have contractors that we've worked with in the past, we'll keep a list and we do a direct mailing to those contractors as well. Yep.
Because I have seen them there, but I didn't know
But
if
what
there
we're
was a...
working on actually is,
link.
so that RFP will be written, but it can't officially be closed until we receive the Phase 1 environmental assessment. And I'm still working on a company, because Summit Geotechnical can't do it, to actually do that. I have a couple of emails out there looking for a firm to do the assessments on 31 and also the Yellow House on Main Street.
Yeah.
Because those they have to know, we have to have that done so that they know how much asbestos needs to be remediated before they can bid the tear down.
All right. So people, if they're interested in doing something like this, have to go to the town website. There's no other site out in internet
No,
land?
I don't, maybe we've shared them in the past on Maine Municipal Association's website. So there's a lot of RFPs that get shared under their,
Okay.
their website as well. But other than that, that's typically where it is. People can contact us. If it's something that they're interested in wanting to bid, contact the office, give us your name, your address, or email contact, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of that RFP when it comes up.
Okay,
That's
thank
the other
you.
thing we can do.
No.
Yield back my time. So the other thing I had a question about, and I had some questions, where we stand on the property tax assessment, real estate assessments, and where we are now. I think we've been in the center. I'm not sure where that's moving next, and just how things are progressing.
So there's notices that are out there. You'll see them where they show parts of the town map that are in yellow. That's what they did last year. Parts of the town map that are orange. That's what they're going to be doing this year. So that is a fall work project for us. So they will, when I talked to the assessor today, he's actually wrapping up commitments all over the state of Maine. And those staff that come and do that will be starting. And usually we'll do like we did last year. We put the notice out to let them know that they're coming. And then we also have the town seal that goes on the side of their vehicle, so that folks know that that's who that is. But typically that's a fall into winter.
And that's on the
project.
website, I believe.
I believe
thought
it
it was
is,
last year. I'd
yes.
have to look at it
Yeah.
again. But
I'd
just-
have to look, but yeah, I'm not
Thank you.
sure. Yeah.
I think those are the ones that I had to say and ask questions about, so I am good. Anything else to follow up before we move along? You're good, all right. So at this point, the next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024.
That was today.
Yeah, nice. So, I was like, I started to read that, so what is
No, it
going to
won't.
be our next one?
It is
It'll be
going-
September.
It's going to be
It'll still be
September
Wednesday.
11th.
There we go. It'll still be Wednesday. So Wednesday, September 11th, so correction, Wednesday, September 11th, 2024, to be held as a hybrid meeting in the council chambers and via Zoom at 6:30 PM. So recess at this time.
Motion to recess.
Second.